What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today I want to talk about the migrant crisis that's affecting the people in New York, Chicago, and plenty other places, right? And I keep trying to tell you guys I'm fair, right? I keep it real and I'm fair, right down the middle. I'm not biased. Now, this migrant immigrant crisis that's happening in New York and Chicago, we calling them crises now only because in Democratic states are they having to deal with it, right? See, before it was happening on the border states, which are all mostly Republican states. So all the rich Democrats that live on the East Coast and live in these big cities, and they don't have to never see it or deal with it. The repercussions of certain policies that we have on a federal level, right? We got to deal with it. But the guys in New York and Chicago, they never had to deal with it, right? So they always was apathetic about the plight of the Republican, the red states, with majority Republicans, when they're talking about the border and all this stuff. Now, in reality, Donald Trump didn't build shit, all right? Donald Trump didn't build shit. He built 50 miles of the border, and that's all that's all he built, right? But, you know, the reason why he can't build, and this is the truth, the reason why they can't build a wall, have you seen the border? It's impossible to literally put a wall. It's impossible to put, what's going on, man? It's impossible. It's literally impossible to put a border wall on our southern border. That's the thing the politicians are not telling you. It's impossible and impractical. You have deserts, mountain ranges. It's not practical. Plus, the majority of illegal immigrants actually fly over here and overstay their visas. Those are true. But what's happening right now is that the federal government is not giving the states the money they need to deal with the influx of these asylum seekers. And the thing about asylum seeking, if you know anything about seeking asylum, is different from illegal immigrants just crossing the border. Usually, what it is they're coming from a place of extreme danger, and they can seek economic asylum. They can seek, asylum for their life or whatever, because it's dangerous and things like that. And it's an epidemic in Central and South America that we in North America got to deal with, because we have this is the home of the immigrants who run away from where they from to come here. That's like, this place was designed that way. Everybody knows America was designed for, if you got issues in your country, you come here. That's literally what we're here for. That's what it's about, right? And New York has always been the beacon of that type of immigration, right? But what's happening now is because, times are getting harder, and times may be hard for us Americans, as we know, right? Things are rough. Things cost a lot of money, inflation. We know the corporations don't care. They're gouging us. They make overcharging us for food. They're overcharging us for rent. They don't want to increase our freaking pay. They basically making us slaves again. They're basically taking us back to slavery. Everybody's becoming a slave. Slowly but surely, we're becoming more and more slave-like as a society. Back the way they like it. Low overhead, high profit margins, period. And if this doesn't show you that the Democrats don't actually give a shit about you, this should show it right here, because Joe Biden ain't doing shit about this. Now, the state legislators, the governor, the mayors of even the democratically elected Democrat mayors and governors of both Chicago and New York are both complaining that the federal government is not doing anything to help them. Right? You got state budgets, but when it comes to asylum seeking, usually the federal government's supposed to step in, declare an emergency, and give them emergency federal funds, right, to deal with the crisis. But Joe Biden don't give a shit about that, because Joe Biden's too busy dealing with America's interests overseas, right? The thing that all the rich corporations care about. They don't care about us. Corporations never cared about this. They only care about their interests, right? And if we don't fall in line with their interests, it don't matter, right? So like the Democrats, this is what they do. See, the Democrats, they're not trying to kill us. They're not under persuasion of you niggers, we got to get rid of y'all. They're not on that racist tip. They're on that money tip. They're about the green, right? And you can participate in the corruption in the corporate, dogma if you want. You can be black, white, Asian, Spanish. They don't care. It's all inclusive with corruption on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, it's exclusive, right? Got to be white male. If you're a white male, you can play ball. If you black or Indian or something, you can sit outside. We'll toss you some biscuits every now and then. We'll pat you on the head, but you can't come inside. All right, but you can stand outside. We'll get your doggy house and all that shit. Put a nice little chain on you, and we'll feed you like 3 times a day. That's what the Republicans do. right? But either way, these are both two wings of the same bird, right? This bird of white supremacy, right? And how they use different various tools of that supremacy, whether it be classism, corporatism, racism, whatever they got to do to get what they want. It's all about the interest, the people at the top, right? So the federal government don't give a shit that these democratic states now got to deal with the shit that the Republican states got to deal with, right? And the difference is the Democratic states are usually places of high population already, right? High population, high prices. So we take 10,000 asylum seekers and you slap them in a city that's already overpopulated, that's already stressed out, is going to cause some issues. Everybody going to start having a problem. Everybody, even people who never thought or even cared about immigration, because that shit was something that happened down there on the border states, and you never had to see it. Now they're starting to see what those people down there, the Republicans, be talking about down there at the border. You know, when they say the influx of immigration coming in, taking over their towns, right? But at the same time, I'm like, how can you tell these Native Americans not to move about their own natural, you know, like this is their home, right? Africa for the Africans, Asia for the Asians. Shouldn't North America be for the Native American? I mean, I'm just saying. But either way, this is where we at now, right? So the people there are complaining, you know, they've been complaining for years about this border. Now, realistically, they'll never build a border, right? And first of all, even if they did build a wall, people go underneath the wall, over top of the wall. Look, the Great Wall of China didn't work, keep Mongols out. It was actually a great failure, actually. It didn't really accomplish anything. Only thing that it accomplished was you're able to see the Bama's coming from a mile away, but it didn't stop them from taking over or coming over the wall. So that wall is an archaic symbol of separation, but it never works. That's the thing. The wall ain't gonna do shit, right? Walls are meant to be knocked down, going underneath it, climbed over top of, right? So, but anyway, I just wanna, you know, acknowledge that this immigration system is an issue, right? And the thing is, it's built into our legislation, right? This is a policy that we have to find a way to deal with. We have to either spread the burden out, to be honest, spread the burden out, speed up the process of asylum seekers, because it's easy for people here who's already suffering, right? It's easier for people here who are suffering already. We got our own issues here, and it's hard to empathize when you got 12,000 people in your neighborhood sucking up your resources, especially the resources that is hard as hell for you as a black person to even get, because it seemed like the same government that's supposed to be helping you, right, that take your tax money and don't help you, they take your tax money out your check, out your mortgage, out your car note, and everything else you pay, out your sales tax, and they make sure they get siphoned over to those rich white people neighborhoods where they get their roads done, they get the sanitation comes out and picks their shit up 3-4 times a week, they get all the funding for their schools, and guess what? Ain't not a near nutter illegal or asylum seeker gonna be put anywhere close to their neighborhoods, because they're gonna make sure that that doesn't happen. But all us peasants, all us regular folk down here, guess what? Here, they're gonna stuff some more. Everybody crowd in, because they don't have to worry about it. So all these politicians that are making these decisions, they're not personally affected by it. These Democrats, these corporate Democrats, right? They're not personally affected by it. They're just thinking about this. Damn, you know what? At some point, all these we can use these guys that's over here. We're gonna put them in low-paying jobs, and we can have them produce things for our corporation. Don't think the corporation don't want these illegal immigrants or these asylum seekers over here. You don't think these corporations don't want them over here. Don't think these corporations don't advertise, yeah, come on over here, just cross the border. Yeah, no problem. We'll deal with the legalities later. Because corporations are in the business of making money. That means they need people to work for them for cheap. They can't do slavery no more, so they can't just have you work for free, which they would prefer, right? They would prefer that. They can't do indentured servitude no more, even though they still do it, but they gotta pay you something, right? Because we got standards, which corporations hate because of those regulations. That's why they're always trying to undo regulations. Because if they undo regulations that the federal government and state governments place upon them, then they can do whatever they want. It's just the wild, wild west. Just like after the Donald Trump undid regulations for the transportation industry and the train for the railroads, that's why after that we got a whole bunch of derailments, because now trains can go faster, they can overload their cargo, they can do all sorts of stuff because the regulations that were meant to be put in there to protect people and protect property are lifted. So they just like wild, wild west. So we got all sorts of derailments, destroying neighborhoods, dropping chemicals. That's just the way corporations work. They messy, they nasty, they don't care. It's about that dollar. They will destroy your community for the dollar. And then after they destroy it, they're gonna leave and pretend like you don't exist. West Virginia. All right, so either way, I just want to say that I'm with, I understand. It's not happening here in Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., our biggest issue is homelessness. It's shit's next level, right? And that's the issue that every state's having. So on top of our homelessness, and on top of the people that were in the middle class that's falling to the lower class, the people who are struggling every day, you buy 2 items at the grocery store, you done spent $100. Everybody is stressed out. So the extra burden of other people from other countries who are also stressed out coming on here is just hard to deal with, but we got to find a way to do it. But another thing is, ask yourself, why are these people coming over here? Do you want to know why these people are coming over here? Because American policies destroy their countries. American policies destroy their countries in Central and South America, and mainly Central America. It's the Second Amendment and the fact that everybody want to be able to buy guns without any regulations, so that the corporation can sell those guns that's uncounted and unregulated to the Mexican cartels, because they buy guns. They spend a lot of money on guns and bullets and weapons. It ain't Joe Smoke down the street that the NRA cares about. Is the Migos and across the border who buying up big packages of guns. And the only way they're gonna be able to do that is if there's no regulations on the sales of guns. That's why they got all you little peasants out here talking about, you all here championing the policies that do nothing but kill your people on the streets, because every time somebody gets stressed out, they do what? Reach for their gun and they kill each other because they can't handle it. They're not trained. They're just a bunch of mentally ill Americans with guns, right? And then they send a bunch of weapons to and empower all those cartels so they can have military-grade weapons, killing each other, destroying neighborhoods, and forcing these people to leave their neighborhoods that they can't even step outside without worrying about getting shot and killed, to come to this great American country that we benefit off the pains of those people. Understand, there's a reason why everybody flee here. It's because of American policies and other American policies, not just the guns, but the various other things. How we like drugs. America loves to consume drugs. So we buy up all the cartels' drugs, and in exchange, we sell them weapons for cheap. So we create the environment in Central America to where it's a volatile, hostile environment. Same way they did in black neighborhoods. When they threw crack in their neighborhoods, they started dropping off guns and shit. And all of a sudden, we became hyper-violent individuals in our neighborhood. Desperate people do desperate things, right? So the same thing they did to us is the same thing they do to an entire freaking Central and Southern America, right? And then we complain when the results or the side effects of those policies that we have, so that our corporations can make all the money they want, the peasants, we gotta be the ones to deal with it. Because these people don't have to deal with it, because they live in gated communities far away from everybody. You understand? So think about that. So that's why I'm always saying, don't cape for Democrats, don't cape for Republicans. We need to cape for ourselves. We need to create a party of ourselves, a conglomerate in ourselves. And it shouldn't matter how long it takes us to galvanize us together to make a respectable party. But if we were to do something like that, then we would get more respect if we had a concentrated vote, and we could start demanding policies that benefit us directly, the same way them other groups do. But until we do that, we're just gonna have to play the game like everybody else was forced to play the game, with these two parties that we have no choice if we want to participate in the process. If we want to participate in the process, which we should, because our ancestors died so that we can participate in the political process, we should participate, but we should give ourselves more choices than choices that the corporation give us and make us fight over every 2 to 4 years. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.